Hi everyone, Christopher here. So, bit of a crazy day. We just got home a little bit ago. We had a little incident at a traffic light. A guy rear-ended us, but no one was hurt. It was me and my mom, and we were in my stepdad's Honda, and well, the bumpers are going to need to be replaced, but all around, no one got hurt. I wasn't hurt. My mother wasn't hurt. The people who hit us weren't hurt. And we got his information. We called a cop. So hopefully that's all going to get taken care of. But to get into the discussion that I wanted to get into, we came today from seeing Toy Story 4. And I'm just going to give you some thoughts on what I thought about it and the direction that they were going with it. There will be spoilers in this. All around, I enjoyed it. It was definitely an enjoyable film. It had its emotions. There were some funny moments in it, and there was also, believe it or not, there was a lot of creepy moments in it too. I mean, there was a couple moments where even my mom and I were jumped in a few spots, and that was like even something my mom was saying to me like on the ride home. So it's like there was a lot of scary moments in that. I'm like, yeah, kind of, yeah. But I mean, all around, I mean, is it the Toy Story film that's like gonna blow me away like some of the earlier ones did? No, I mean some of the complaints that some have given to it is that it's like it's a good sequel, but it's not necessarily a necessary sequel, which I kind of agree with. This is like one of those installments where you can basically, I mean, you can kind of give or take it. If you want to watch it with your kids, fine. But I mean, if you want to skip over it, fine. The thing you'll see that's pretty prominent with most of the Toy Story films is that most of them don't have the cliffhanger ending. They don't really necessarily have the aspect where it's like you have to watch the earlier films to really understand what's happening. No, not really. Each movie basically has a wraparound ending. I mean, it's not leaving anything open. But I mean, like this was definitely a film where it's just like I feel like it's just another story that they just felt they just wanted to tell instead of needing to tell. It's just because I mean. I know a lot of other people felt this way too, but just like a lot of people felt like just the way Toy Story 3 ended was just a perfect way to end it. And what's funny was, here's something I noticed like with this film and Toy Story 3 compared to like the first two. The first two basically end the way you think they're going to end. Toy Story 1, you have the two toys that don't get along and they're lost, but they eventually come to accept each other as friends and agree that they're going to respectfully coexist together and be friends in Andy's life, and then they become friends at the end and they help each other get back to Andy. Okay, fine. Toy Story 2, same idea. Woody gets stolen. They finally find him and they manage to get back to Andy's room. Okay, fine. Toy Story 3 in this film, they really kind of have the endings that you don't necessarily see coming. Like when they happen, you can understand why they happen. You may not be thrilled with the ending, but you kind of understand it. But it has a twist. Okay, so when you're watching a movie or if you're reading a book or whatever, you can come up with a general idea of like where the story's probably going to end up going by the end. But then with these last two, they kind of throw a few curveballs where it's like we get part of it but not all of it. So it's like in Toy Story 3, you think, okay, we established Andy's going to college. He wants to take Woody to college with him, and he's going to put the rest of the toys in the attic. And your mind is kind of saying to yourself, okay, well, that's probably, despite everything that's about to happen in the story, that's probably what's going to happen, right? No. Well, yes, the toys all get in the box together, and Andy is planning to take Woody to college with him, but then he decides he's going to take the toys to Bonnie, and then Woody manages to sneak himself in there because he realizes, you know what, it's my job as a toy to serve a child. Obviously, Andy's not a child anymore. I mean, my service to him is basically over. So he basically joins the other toys, reunites with them, so he can now become a toy again in Bonnie's life. Okay, so, and it has that emotional farewell to Andy. This film had kind of the same angle in a way where it's just they kind of throw you the curveball. Because again, you think, okay, you know what, we have a new character, Forky, who Woody has to try to help convince, okay, you're a toy, you're not trash, you're going to be an important part in Bonnie's life or Bonnie's childhood or whatever. And you probably think, I mean, especially if you've seen the trailers, you probably think the bulk of the movie is going to be him convincing convincing Forky that it's all going to be about convincing him that he's a toy and he needs to be in Bonnie's life. Believe it or not, that's not really the whole angle of the movie, believe it or not. That angle of the movie, believe it or not, gets pretty cleared up early on, believe it or not, and then we move on to other things. I mean, so there's that, and also the ending, I mean, it was an emotional ending. I'm not going to say it wasn't. Is it necessarily the ending that I would have wanted for this movie? No. I hate to say it, no. But I can understand, again, kind of with the Toy Story 3 ending. I mean, even when I watched Toy Story 3 for the first time, it was a good ending. I get the angle they did with him, but you know that there's that part of you that still kind of wanted Woody to go to college with Andy. And it's the same thing with this movie. You know there's a part of you that still wants Woody to still be with the gang. You know that it's just how can you have the gang without Woody? I mean, I understand this is supposedly going to be the last movie, and if it is, fine. But it's just like you all want to see them together at the end of the movie. So for Woody to I understand the angle they were going for. One thing that you definitely see especially with this movie, is that they try to take themes that were firmly established in the other films and really try to kind of bring a wrap around to it. This idea that Woody is just this obsessed toy about serving a child and that he's never going to let a toy behind. All the things that he goes throughout all these stories. It's like now you're getting to the point where it's like you really have to set the record straight to him. It's like Woody, this is not the life you have to keep living. You need to realize that, you know what, it's not always about just being loyal. But but Woody's always a bit of a stubborn character. You know, he will go out of his way. But this is really the point in the series where he now has to accept that, you know, I just can't just keep being this loyal toy anymore. I mean, so he realizes, especially after being reunited with Bo Peep, and of course, there's always been chemistry with them in the earlier films, that this is my chance to be reunited with my friend and really experience life as a toy without the troublesome of just trying to just constantly be there for one person and making sure that every other toy that belongs to that person is there as well. You know, he's the other toys promising at the end, we are going to be there for Bonnie. You know, that's what we do, and that's what we're going to do. You are free, basically. So I get the angle they were going with it, but it's just I don't know. It's just one of those. It's just like, again, you know that there's still a part of you that wants him to be with the other toys. I mean, I don't think I'm wrong in assessing that, right? But okay, so away from the ending, I mean, what are some of the other things I liked about this movie? I mean, some of the interesting characters. I mean, the Gabby Gabby doll, it was interesting to see how they developed her. I mean, initially she was kind of like the villain of the story, but then they sort of give her this backstory, and then they do add some sympathy to her, and you do like the ending that she gets. And I mean, but like I said, it had some creepy moments, like those Slappy dolls that were chasing after them. I'm sorry, I'm calling them Slappy dolls, because let's face it, they look like Slappy from Goosebumps. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's seen the trailers or seen the movie who's been calling them Slappy dolls. So, but no, just there was definitely that. But I mean, there were some other interesting things too. I think with any film, I mean, you're always interested to see how the characters we know and love are going to intertwine with some of these newer characters that you're introducing. And, you know, the way they reintroduced Bo Peep was really good. And, I mean, all around, it was a good story. I mean, going back to what I said earlier, was it a necessary sequel? No, I don't think it was a necessary sequel. I mean, I feel it had the heart, but there was just something. It just didn't feel like that. It gave us, or at least gave me, everything I wanted with the film. That doesn't mean I didn't like it. I did like it. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, yeah, I could give this a 7 or something like that. It's really good. They put a lot into it. I mean, listen, Toy Story 1 has been my top 3 favorite Disney films since I was like 4 or 5 years old. It's still one of my favorites. Nothing to me will ever beat Toy Story 1. You know, I had mixed feelings about Toy Story 2 for a while, but I've even kind of grown to like that one. I had mixed feelings with Toy Story 3, but I mean, I've kind of grown to like that as well, even though I kind of like the ending for that movie. Did leave a bit of an aftertaste in my mouth, just like the ending for Toy Story 4 did. So, I mean, I'm hoping that this will be the same situation. I'll probably watch it when it comes out on DVD and be like, you know what, I have a better appreciation for this than when I saw it in theaters. I mean, we'll see. I still don't necessarily think it was a necessary sequel, but then again, it depends on what your definition of a necessary sequel is. Is it a sequel? Is it a sequel that you want because you want to see how these characters are growing, or do you just simply want another adventure with these characters? If it's the latter, then this film should definitely be the film you want to see. So I definitely recommend it. I'm not saying it was bad and I don't recommend. No, I definitely recommend it. It just wasn't fully the Toy Story sequel that I was hoping for. I just felt the ending left a little bit of a bittersweet taste in my mouth. And I felt there was just some situations they didn't ignore. Like, I wanted to see if Bonnie would come around to Woody at the end. That was another thing that kind of bugged me, too. Because, like, I feel like they kind of made a cop-out with the ending. Because we never really see if she actually... Kind of like with the ending of Toy Story 1, where by the end of it, Andy loves both Buzz and Woody the same. You know what I mean? And I was hoping that we would get something like that with Toy Story 4, with the relationship between Woody and Forky. Like, by the end of the movie, you know what? Because we established early on that Woody's not really being played with anymore. All the other toys are pretty much pulled out of the closet and Woody's left in there. So it's like you almost feel like they're going to go in the similar direction as the first movie. You know, like Andy's playing with all the other toys, but he leaves Woody behind. In this movie, it's the same story again, but like Bonnie's playing with all the other toys and leaves Woody behind. But you think, again, going back to what I was saying, like you have this general idea of what you think the ending is going to be. So if your impulse is thinking, oh, well, by the end of the movie, you know, it'll be all good again. I mean, Bonnie's going to love Forky, she's going to love Woody again. She'll come around to him again. It doesn't happen. He just accepts that he's just not going to be the leader of the gang anymore, and he's going to go run off with Bo Peep. It was an emotional ending, but just, again, part of it almost felt like a cop-out to me, in a way. And it's just the whole idea of just separating him permanently from the gang. It was an emotional ending, but it's just not the ending I necessarily would have wanted. But all around, I thought it was a really good film, and just wanted to give my thoughts on it. If you've seen it and you enjoyed it, I'm glad that you did. If you have other opinions on this you would like to share with me, I mean, comment below. Keep the comments positive, please. I don't mind if you want to be critical about it, but just, I mean, you can be critical and still have a positive angle on the criticism. You know what I mean? But that's about it. I mean, I'm glad I didn't get hurt in the little minor accident on the way home today. But all around, it was a good day, and it was a good film, and I hope you all have a good day. Take care.